and it takes 50 years for the primary forest to come back. Whereas in Long Reef, a week or two after a big storm, things are starting to come back because of constant recruitment back into the system. But that's only the invertebrates. And the invertebrates, let's say a snapper might be 40 years old before it kicks the bucket. And by that time it's big. Well, you never see big snapper these days. They're always that big, or that big, or that big, because the big ones have been short out. And so the same thing that doesn't occur with the vertebrates on Long Reef. And that's one of the critical things that we need to think of. Global warming is exacerbating that die out of organisms. I dug out here things like Yates' Gardening Guide.
Right.
And I suggest you have a look at it. You look at the recommendations for planting seeds. There's cold, there's temperate, there's warm and whatever. Now that's affecting more and more people in the tropics. In a few years' time we won't be able to plant cauliflower here because it'll be too warm. But people don't hear that.
Right.
And that's something that needs to be taught of.
And so what it means is that people are not getting they're not really understanding what it means to them.
They just turn off.
Yeah,
They
tune out.
Talking about.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't affect them.
One of the organisms that I found on Long Reef just recently, which to me is an indication of something or other happening that I think I can only call global warming. And that's an organism that's here that is quite common in the whole of the Indo-Pacific, and called Amplastrum aplastra. I'll put them out so you can see them. Quite colourful little bubble shells, as we call them. Now, I had never seen one on Long Reef before, ever.
Right.
And that's over 50 years, 60 years of my knowledge. The year before last, I found 66 specimens.
66?
66. Wow. Last year, I only found one. This year, I haven't seen any. So it could be just a one-off job, but to me, that's an indication of what the future might hold. That we're getting more and more of these tropical things coming down here, settling out, and actually breeding. The sea cucumber I was talking about earlier, the same thing is happening with them. I saw one, now there's 10, 12 of them in 1 year. They're obviously breeding at Long Reef, so they were never able to do that before.
Right.
Yeah, 2 or 3 years ago we had a fairly intensive storm, which for the first time ever, and probably indicative of more and more intensive storms and climate change, we had a very heavy erosion along the foreshore here, which stopped cars being parked anywhere there. At one stage of the game, the council wouldn't allow anybody in. Right. They're now parking there and again, but on the other side of the barrier. And at the moment, they're just starting to spend a fair bit of money to try to fix up the coast.
How, the whole adaptation issue, I think, is fascinating. How we're going to respond to it, when we're going to respond to it, how much it's going to cost. It's huge, isn't it?
Oh yeah. In most cases, we humans don't learn from history anyway. We'll do it too late.
Yeah.
What do we do?
Well, it's like, as I was reading somewhere, it's like having a picnic on a train track, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Vote 1 Greens in the federal election on July the 2nd.